how we understand the world of spirit, and I'll just read our 7 principles. It's now 7 o'clock. And the belief of most spiritualists can be summed up in these principles. The creative divine spirit of the universe, whom we call God. The unity of all created beings. The communion of spirits and ministering gods. The continuous existence of life beyond the veil of death. Communication between incarnate and discarnate spirits. Personal responsibility for all our actions whilst on earth, and a path of eternal progress being open to all souls. And of course these principles are open to individual interpretation. And now it's time for the healing part of our service, so if we could please ask our 2 healers to come together. And if we have 2 people who perhaps missed out on healing before the service, would you like to come forward? Do I have another healer, please? Thank you, Helen. Please join me in our healing meditation. Sit quietly now, letting go of all your daily cares, gently breathing in and out in your own rhythm, being aware of the flow of your breath, the gentle rise and fall of your chest and abdomen with every breath, feeling that with every breath out you are releasing tension and stress. And with every breath in, you are breathing in energy of peace and healing. With every breath out, feel all the tension and stress in your body, releasing and drifting away. With every breath in, feel the flow of divine healing energy and of light radiating right throughout your body, to every cell, every tissue in your physical body. With every breath in, feel that your physical body is more and more deeply relaxed, all tension and stress released. You feel still and calm and deeply relaxed. With every breath in, the flow of divine healing power fills your body, relieving pain and discomfort, touching every cell, bringing balance and healing to your physical body, and quietening and strengthening your mind, building and building within you until it spills out around you, linking you with everyone else in this room, still building in volume and in power until it fills this room with the golden white light of divine healing power. Still it builds and builds until it radiates out from this room around our city, taking peace and healing with it wherever it goes. Still it builds and builds until it radiates out around our country, taking peace and healing with it wherever it goes. Still it builds in volume and in power as it radiates out around our world, taking peace and healing with it wherever it goes. Still it builds and builds until it radiates out into the universe without limit, taking peace and healing with it, linking us with the great creative power of the universe we call God. God's light merges with our light. There is no separation. We are all one, merged in this ocean of divine healing light. Let us now think of all those who are in need of healing, wherever they may be. whether they are sick in body or mind, whether they are in situations of wars or natural disasters, or political oppression, physical or emotional abuse, in hospital, lonely, homeless, hungry or confused. We ask that they all be enveloped in this divine light of healing. We think also of the animals, the birds, the plants and the trees, all creatures, and the very earth itself, that it may be healed and renewed. Hold that feeling of the energy and of light and peace deep within you, and if you know of anyone in need of healing, send them before it now, so that this healing light will touch them too. Now I'll read Harriet's healing prayer. May we be thankful for all the blessings we already have. Grant us relief from pain and sickness. Protect us from all ills and grant us good health in the days to come. Remove all causes of imperfection and bring thy healing ministers close to us, that we may be conscious of their presence, and so receive guidance and inspiration. Grant us courage and fortitude to overcome all adversity. Let us be conscious of thy strength at all times of need. Grant us confidence to overcome our fears and not to anticipate harm. Teach us how to live rightly in thy sight, to do only that which is right and true. We pray for guidance, and that right influencing will inspire all thy peoples to be as brothers, one to the other, and that peace shall endure for all time. Thank you, healers, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for taking part in our healing meditation. And while we're doing that, I'll go through our notices before we start today. Sunday on our platform, as our speaker, we'll be having Carol Smith with us, and our demonstrators will be Wayne Harkin and Olga Tugaree. So, another lovely day to forward to next holiday. And to tell you about the other activities here at the VSU, of course, healing is available every Sunday from 2 p.m. for service under the guidance of Robert Taylor and our VSU healers. Now, healing is outside the main chapel there. If you know of someone who's in need of healing, please just a reminder that we do have our healing book downstairs. You can place their name in there and they'll be remembered in our healing prayers. And if you have someone who needs help and they can't get here to the VSU, but you think they would benefit from speaking to one of our VSU healers, please speak to Wayne, myself, or one of our community, and we'll see what we can do to assist there. For our other activities, our meditation group meets on the 2nd and 4th Sunday of each month under the guidance of Charlie Smith, and that's at 12:30. And he does like to speak to you before you come along. So if you could speak to Charlie, he'll be around somewhere out there, or one of our committee members will help you with that if you're interested in finding out more about our meditation group. And the cost for that is $15. Our workshops and special afternoons are usually held on the first Saturday of each month, but our next workshop will be on the 9th of November, which is a Saturday, but the following week because of Cup Weekend. So the 9th of November, and I'll be convening that workshop. It's going to be a workshop to understand a bit more and learn a bit more about working with spirit, the platform speaking, and trance mediumship. So I'm thinking it'll be a very interesting afternoon, and well, you saw an example today, and began her address with her talk, with her reading, and the guide came in and took over and continued on the subject for the afternoon. So it's very much a part of what we do as spiritualists, working with our guides, and it's a process that takes time to develop, and of course attunement is most important, and an understanding of what it means to be working with spirit. So we'll be exploring all those sorts of things in our workshop, and also to get an understanding, for especially those that are new to this sort of area, is the sorts of subjects that you might want to speak about on platform that people would be interested in learning about as our spiritual philosophy is expressed. So that's Saturday the 9th of November, and we'll start at 2 and go through till 5. I think in the guide originally somehow there was a bit of a typo, and it was going to be from 7 till 9. We realised we won't be here from 7 till 9 on Saturday night, and I doubt that any of you would have either. So 2 till 5 on Saturday the 9th of November, and it's $35. If you are a member, if you're a member, it's $30. So I look forward to having you here with us, and certainly it's an afternoon that will benefit anyone, whether you're experienced or not. So you can speak to me if you'd like to learn a bit more about it. Our spiritual clairvoyant readings are available on a Thursday and the first and third Saturday of the month, and it's $40 for a 30-minute reading. You do need to make an appointment for that, of course, and you can do that by contacting Stacey during the week in our office, Tuesday to Thursday, or of course speaking to whoever's on the desk downstairs on a Sunday, and we can make an appointment for you. If you'd like to have a reading before the end of the year, the time's fast closing for readings. November, the end of November, we finish for a couple of months, give the mediums a break, and resume in February. So please work out a time that might suit you if you're interested. Our little VSU badges are $5 if you're interested in getting one of those, and the Guide magazine, which tells us what's going on here and at the other churches around Melbourne, our affiliated churches, is $4, but time's going on, so we're going to reduce the price to $2. Well worth buying though. Tells you all about the other affiliated churches, and there's still plenty of activities that you don't want to miss out on. If you're interested in learning more about a spiritual service for a naming, a wedding or a funeral service, how that all comes together, please have a word to me or one of our committee members. If you'd like to be a member of the VSU, you can do that for a fee of $40 a year, or $30 if you have an age or disability concession card. And once again, you can speak to one of our committee members about that. As a member, you'll receive a copy of our newsletter from Rio, and that's out every quarter. So always an interesting read, tells you what's been going on here and what's coming up, and some very interesting articles are always included. Perhaps you've had an experience of a spiritual nature you'd like to share, or you read a book that you found particularly interesting of a spiritual nature, and you'd like to do a bit of a book review. We'd love to hear from you. Also, as a member, you can borrow from our extensive library of spiritual books, and we're very fortunate. Books are always coming into our library as people want to pass them on. They find their way back here, so there's always new titles, well worth a look in our library, and as a member it's free to borrow from the library. Now, our AGM, Annual General Meeting, will be coming up on the 23rd of November. That's just over a month away, so it's a good reminder to all of our members that we would really appreciate you coming along and joining us to support your committee and hear all about the business side of the Victorian Spiritualist Union, a very important part of what we do here. We don't really want to think of ourselves as a business, but of course we do need to run our organisation as a business, because that's why it's been here for 149 years, and we do hope it'll continue on long past when we're gone, at least for another 149 years. So the business side of it is very important. So that's November the 23rd, and our members will be learning more about that as they receive the next Combrio magazine and in the mail as well. I think that's about it for our notice this afternoon. Have I forgotten anything, Gaylene? No, I don't think so. So we do thank you for your donations today, and we're going to have another song, and we're going to sing number 380, You Raise Me Up. So please stand for 380. Thank you. And now it's time for our mediums to bring us their messages from the spirit world. So Christine's going first. So please join me in welcoming Christine as she brings us
Madam Chair, fellow presenters, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon,
And before I continue, I would just like to say a very big thank you for the invitation to be here on this very special occasion. 149 years is a huge achievement. So I think a round of congratulations to Lorraine and to Carol and to all the committee and all of those who volunteer at the VSU churches would be appropriate at this time. So some of us will come from the other side to be here for the next 149 years. Okay. All right, so to begin, may I go to this lady in the front, please? Your name? Andrea. Thank you very much. I have Mother here with you. I heard her voice come in just as I was sitting there earlier today. She's also bringing through with her a little white fluffy dog that's just around your ankles at this present moment in time. Now, when Mum's coming through, she showed me a country area where she lived. A very definitely love of the outdoors, and she's bringing through a huge bunch of flowers. They're not your traditional beautiful pretty rose type flowers, they're more than native wild flowers that just grow naturally of their own accord, because that was her. She just loved things to be in their own pure and natural state. She's also coming through showing me and taking me into her kitchen. She had a love of cooking. She was a very let's just get the job done type of person, but she also loved in particular to make sponge cakes. So I could see this absolutely huge sponge cake sitting on the kitchen table, okay? She's coming through with such a lot of love for you. She's saying that at this present moment in time there are a few things going on around you that need addressing and you're not quite sure which way to go. She is here to help and support you. You'll know that she's with you because she brings through a sensation up and down your spine, like a little bit like tingly sensation. Do you understand that feeling? Yeah. So when you get that, that's for you to know she's with you in that exact moment, and to just take some time to be still so that she can communicate more fully. You already do that with her, but she's saying, you are such a busy lady at this present moment in time that you haven't always got time to stop and be still. And she really wants you, she wants to take hold of you and say, be still for just a moment, because together you will be able to sort through what is going on around you. She's coming through wearing glasses. She was saying that her eyes were failing a little bit before she passed to the other side. And she wants you to go and have a bit of an eye check-up as well too, because she said you have been having a bit of difficulty in reading documents lately, and she wants you to just check that out, okay? She's bringing through a gentleman with her as well too. She's telling me this is husband, and he passed to the other side well before she did. And she's saying that he had some sort of a stomach issue going on with him. Do you understand this, guys? Yes, thank you. He's just here as well too, coming through with a lot of love with you. So there's both here with you. There's quite a few other family members as well too, but we'd be here all afternoon if I went to mention them. So these are the two that just wanted to come through, bringing through so much love for you. All right, so now leave that with you. Thank you. Welcome. Okay, now I have to find out where I'm going. I'm an ex-primary school teacher, and at one stage I introduced the first ever gifted and talented children's program in Frankston. I had a very forward-thinking principal. And so as part of that program we always work with codes and patterns to get the kids' minds working. And that's what Spirit World tend to do with me. They will give me one little clue, and then I have to find out where it is that I'm going. So I'm looking for someone here today, please, who has been visiting or did visit a care facility, visiting, I'm not sure it's mum, mother-in-law, but like to take in particular yellow roses. The yellow roses are significant. So can anyone here understand this connection, please? Anyone? Thank you very much. May I ask your name, please?
Aloma.
Aloma. Thank you, Aloma. May I come to you, please?
Yeah.
I'm getting more a mother-in-law connection. Does this make sense to you?
No, I don't think it's a mother.
Mother, okay, thank you. Right on track. Thank you for that. Feeling this connection coming through. She also is coming through with a lot of love for you. She was very, very appreciative of what you did for her, because what she's saying is you went above and beyond what other people would do. And she's really aware of that and really appreciative of it. She wasn't quite aware of it at the time because she did have some memory problems. And she's saying that over where she is right now, she's certainly very aware of all that you did to help and support her. Now, she had a great love of toast with Vegemite on. Okay, she's bringing that through. It was something she just liked to do, a little bit different to other people just at any time of the day. It was just where she was at that time. She particularly liked to have perfumes that had a floral scent to them as well too. Do you understand this, please? Because she's bringing it around me right now. You can't remember, or you're not sure?
I think it might be somebody else. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
Yeah.
We need to get this clear.
Yeah.
But I've got this mother-in-law connection. I'm visiting an aged care facility. I've got the yellow roses. I've got floral scent coming around. So which part of that does not resonate for you?
My mum's just recently, she's in hospital now.
Right.
Or she's just come home. But she got yellow roses, you know, and...
all right, thank you very much. What I'm getting now is I've got two connections going on here, and I've got a bit of a cross vibration. So I'm just going to ask the other lady to step back and just go with the information that's coming through right now. So, okay. The lady that's bringing through the information about your mother, this is where we need to go. Okay. And I'm feeling that it's a lady going back a little bit in time. Okay. Lady who passed through the spirit world, and I want to go to more like a heart condition. Do you understand this connection, please? Yeah. Thank you very much. And apologies about the little hiccup. Yeah. All right, now, she's very much aware of what is going on for you at this present moment in time. She's also saying that you have grave concerns about the condition of your mum and what is going to happen. She's saying to you to just relax. Totally, completely relax. Everything is going to turn around and work out for you. There's a little bit of paperwork she's talking about that may need to come into place. This lady that's bringing the information through, she's taking me back to her home, she's taking me indoors, and she's saying that she kept things minimal. She didn't like to have too much of things around her, and she's saying this is how you are feeling at the present moment in time as well too. It's like there's too much to take care of, and that's the way she was, and that's the way she is suggesting that you now relook, review at what is around you, what you need to let go of, what you need to bring more in to make things a lot easier for you, and particularly in this present time with mum and her health and well-being at this present moment in time. So can I leave that with you with a lot of love and blessings? Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm looking for someone now who has connection to a tennis court. I've got a tennis racket and I've got an on-to-car tennis court. Now, how many people here are tennis players or have a connection? Young man down here. May I start with you and let's see if this is where we fit first. I'm connecting also to a little black dog. Not a particularly black dog in the spirit world, passed over quite some time ago. Do you understand this dog, please?
Doing 5 years, maybe.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. So I just needed to make sure that I was with you. All right. I've got a gentleman coming through. I want to go back a couple of generations. I'm feeling a grandfather coming through with you. Not a particularly tall gentleman. Hair was quite grey, short back and sides as they were in those days. But he's a very, I want to say, strong, solid gentleman. When he showed up, it was like you could feel his presence in the room. He just had that energy around him that you knew you were with a person who would stand no nonsense, would really stand up for what was right and what needed to happen. And you didn't muck around with him. Do you understand this, gentleman?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, now, he's saying there is a situation around you at this present moment in time where there are things going on for you where you need to stand firm. You need to stand your ground, and he's coming through with, once again, no mucking around with the situation. You're doing your very best to keep everything smooth, which is a great consideration, he is saying, but there are times when you really need to take that extra step forward and to do what you know is right and what is best. But what he's saying to you is it will all be in the timing of it. So it's a matter of, if you are getting this funny feeling in your chest, that's your connection to all of life. That will tell you that you are not quite in the right time or the right space to say anything. It will all come undone. So when you're feeling quite okay here, that will be your best moment, and they will be helping you because you're very connected. You already know so many things well ahead of time of anybody else. Do you understand this? Yeah, and this is what he's saying. So he's saying if you just trust this feeling, that when you're feeling okay and you get that go-ahead signal, that will be the perfect moment in which to address this. Now, this gentleman, when he's coming through, very much a gentleman who worked with his hands, and he's taking me outdoors. He was the type of person that could actually do anything. Very intelligent, didn't speak a lot, but when he did speak, you would listen because he knew exactly what he was talking about. He had a great interest in many things, so I can see him reading the newspaper as well too. He liked to keep up to date with the day-to-day events. He's saying that's not something you're too fussed about. You've got too much going on in your world, so you've got to focus exactly where you are right now. But he's coming through with a lot of love and a lot of support for you. So can I leave that with you with a lot of love?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Selma, I was guided to come to you, if I may. Thank you. I've got a gentleman coming through, and he was showing me standing beside you playing a piano. Do you play the piano?
No.
Or ever play the piano?
No.
No. Okay, well, this is very interesting. maybe he played the piano and he's encouraging you to play it. So let me see what he's talking about. He's coming through in a suit, very well presented gentleman, and I feel there's a connection here to, I want to say, a choir and singing. And the piano is very definitely a part of that element, and so I think he's playing the piano to get the right notes to sing. Okay, he's saying you have got quite a really good voice and you do love to sing. Now I want to go back a little bit in time to see what I'm doing here. Okay, I'm going back a couple of generations. I don't get a family member though. I feel like he was someone that had a connection with you through a school connection. I want to go back to a time when you wore a blue uniform, looks like it's got slightly reddish stripes going through, you know, all those old check uniforms that the girls used to have to wear at high school. You also used to have to wear a hat at high school as well too. He's showing me that. So if you go back to that particular time and a connection with music, this is where you'll find this gentleman. You may have to go back to go through your records. Now, as he comes through, he's showing me that he has been around you a little bit of late because I can feel that he's walking behind you from time to time. You understand that sensation?
Yes.
It's like, oh, who was that? This is this gentleman. Now, he's coming through very much as a gentleman as well too, because he's the person who would mind his P's and Q's and watch exactly what he needed to say and how he needed to say it. He is saying that this is really most important for you at this present moment in time. Do you understand what he's talking about?
Yes.
Good, okay, thank you. He's here to help you, okay? So it's a matter of sitting quietly and just connecting to him and just asking him for the guidance that he wants to bring through to you. Now he's standing very upright and very tall. He's quite a tall gentleman actually. He's making me stand up tall, and that's how he wants you to be able to do that as well too, because at this moment he's saying there are certain aspects in your world at the moment that are just bringing a little bit of heaviness in. So he wants to just help uplift your energy is what he's talking about, which is really, really good. He's quite a curious gentleman. I feel like he's taking me through a corridor, and I feel like he's taking me through your home. And so he's saying you're looking around your home at this present moment in time because there's a few things you want to change. It's like the energy doesn't quite feel right at this moment. Yes. So he's walking me through it, and he says you will get it. It's just go stand at the doorway and he will be pointing things out, because he's got quite a creative element that he's bringing through as well too, and he wants to bring this in so that you can make the changes. He's talking about lightness and brightness for you. Not that your house is dark and heavy in any way whatsoever, but it's time for a lift in energy. Okay. Flowers will be important for you as well too, just to bring that alignment into the home. So he's talking about that. He also wants you to stand firm. Okay, there are a couple of spaces here. Not telling us because it's not our business, but he's saying that you need to just stand firm in a couple of issues and you'll know exactly which ones they are, because he will be whispering in your ear, and you do feel the whispers but you can't quite make them out yet. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
He is going to make it very clear for you. Okay, so now leave that with you with a lot of blessings. Thank you. Okay, where am I going next? That was it for the clues. Now I need to wait where they guide me to go to. I come to the young lady, oh, okay, seated on the far end of the aisle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th aisle back, I think I am. Long hair and a light coloured top with stripes. Now come to you, please. Yes, and your name?
Stephanie.
Stephanie, thank you, dear Stephanie. May I come to you? Thank you very much. I've got a lady stepping through for you, and I want to say I've got a great grandmother coming through. Now, you would not have known her in your lifetime here. I remember my great grandmother, that's what they're telling me and showing me for you. But she just wants you to know that you have got family around you that you wouldn't even know about at this present moment in time. Because at this moment, your family is like this. But she's now here to encourage you to just expand and see who else. You've started feeling a need to connect more to family. Do you understand this? And she's saying it's time to start doing a little bit more research for that. And that's the reason that she's coming through. Okay, only a little lady, but she's got a lot of I want to say, a fiery element to her. She's a, I'm not going to stand any nonsense type of person as well too. Had a great love of life. She's coming through with a bit of a hip problem. So you may have noticed every now and again, oh, what's that feeling that's going on here? Do you understand this sensation? It's just she's coming a little bit too close to you and bringing that. So there's nothing wrong with you physically. She's bringing that energy through just to let you know she's around. The minute you understand that and connect to that, that will disappear, and then she'll start working with you in a different manner. And she wants to play with your hair, okay? So you'll feel funny sensations going on, which is much better than having this, okay? Now, what she's saying is you have great curiosity about this philosophy. You've also got a gift of healing, and you're asking lots and lots of questions about who you are, what it is you're being called to do, and where it is that you need to be heading on this journey. She is here very much to encourage you, and she's very, very pleased that you are here today, because there are many connections that you will be able to make that will take you in a much wider direction, okay? Because at this moment in time, there's a feeling here that she's bringing through that you're feeling like you need to break free. And that song that we just sang just a few moments ago about breaking free, that really applies to you. And this will help you get there. She's going to lead you to different books. Lorraine mentioned the extensive library that is here, so there's certainly a lot of information. And she's pointing this out to me for you to start investigating, asking more questions, and you're going on a huge learning curve now, is what she's saying. So may I leave that with you with all love and blessings. Thank you. And I'm now going to hand it over to Carol, if you're right to take over. So thank you very much.
For the same attention as Carol was as services. Thank you, Carol.
Hi everyone, how are you? First of all, amazing to stand. Your leadership is awesome. It's a pleasure to stand with you on the platform, and your mediumship through the trance is phenomenal. I enjoy it so much. And thank you for inviting me here today, Lorraine, on this very special day. So how are you all today? Good. You good? Yeah? There's lots of food downstairs. So you're going to have a really nice afternoon tea. But before we get there, I have to do my job right now. And I want to come to this gentleman right here with the glasses and the beard. Can I come to you, Sean? Okay. Now, I had a gentleman, I had my eyes shut. And I had this gentleman, and he showed me a picture of his face, even down to the glasses. I opened my eyes, and I looked at you, and I went, oh my goodness, that's you. And he said, no. It was almost like it was a father. And it just felt like he looked, you must look like this gentleman, like a spitting image. Does this make sense to you?
Yes.
Yes, fantastic. So this is the gentleman I have here, and he told me, we're first cab off the rank. I am making sure so that I can get this connection through for you today, right? So I'm doing what I've been told, and I'm connecting him with you, okay? Now, what came was this overwhelming sense of pride. He said that you have grown into such an amazing man. He is so proud of you, and he watches over you. You know, he also brings me to water, so there must be a love of water. You can place that? Fantastic. Probably a little bit of evidence just to let you know that it really is him. And he also indicated that you had the travelling bug, and that there will be a fair bit of travel coming up and around you. Can you understand that? So he has a sense of humour, okay? Because he showed me like him sitting on the wing of a plane, like going like that to you as you're flying out. And he said, you're limited because you're in the aeroplane. He said, I don't even need that. I'll just be with you as we fly out to see the world. Do you understand what he's talking about? This is a really beautiful soul. He was a wonderful man. He was a nice person. And he tells me that he gave those gifts on to you, and that you really are a very kind and empathic man. Does that make sense to you? Yes? He wants you to open your heart, because he said this part of your life is going to be more about heart connections, relationships, and establishing those relationships with the people around you, bringing them into your life and you entering into them. Does that make sense? And he said, at the end of the day, when you meet your maker, that's what's going to count. So you invest your time in all of the relationships that you have around you, and you spend that time really establishing a good connection to them, because that's all you will need for the rest of your life. Can you accept his message? Oh, look, he's lovely. I could have him all day, but I won't. I'll hand him on to you. Okay? So I'll leave him with you if I could do that. Thank you very much. God bless you. I do have to come to the young lady right on the corner with their sunnies on your head. Can I come to you? Throw me your name. I want to hear your voice.
Danielle.
Danielle. How are you today, Danielle? You good?
Yeah.
Excellent. Look, I saw this image of a young man standing behind you. This young man had fair type of coloured hair, and the way he showed himself, it was like he was in a fringe, you know, and short, but he had a bit of hair. He was a tall man, and he was thin, and he was connecting directly behind you, so he has to be very close in your family or very closely connected to your family. Do you understand a gentleman? And he smoked. He showed me him smoking a cigarette. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah.
Did this gentleman pass in an accident? Like, was there some kind, because I saw him going, like that, so it felt like there was some kind of passing that was unexpected. No? Alright, that's okay, you can say no, honestly. We'll work with this, okay? Do you know of somebody else, we'll say, who passed in a car accident? Do you understand this, yes?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I'm saying to you that there's two there, but the one who comes in strongest is the younger man who was standing behind you. And then I got this flash of a car accident, we're putting his hands up, and it was like, it was done, right? So I want to say that this is the gentleman with the smoking who actually wants to come in and be remembered to you more clearly, okay? He's the stronger link. So can you accept him? Thank you. Now this gentleman, as he steps in, says to me that he has a very strong heart connection with you, okay? Now this doesn't necessarily mean it's a love connection in that sense, but he's very, very strong, and he has a very strong sense of protecting you. Does that make sense to you? So that's how he wants to be remembered to you. He may not be standing in the physical, he's in the spirit realms, but what he's saying is he's protecting you. He's watching over you and he's guiding you. Yes, he's letting you know that he's very clearly with you, okay? This is a very strong connection with him, and he has spent a lot of time around you since his passing, to ensure that you have recovered, got over this, and started to make your life. The words I keep getting, I guess, from him is, I feel like I let you down. I feel like I wasn't the man that you needed me to be, that I did stupid things, I took silly risks, and I didn't value my life the way I should have. Does this make sense to you? There's an apology that I'm saying comes from probably it's really, I can feel it in my stomach. And he says he's so sorry, forgive him. That he will make it up to you every day in every way as he watches and guides you. And I see an image of him leaning over you at night, so he must come to you in dream form. Does that make sense? Like, do you sense him in your dreams?
I haven't had a dream with him yet, but...
Okay, because he shows me an image, literally, of leaning over you and like giving you a kiss while you sleep, and he's around you. So that's an image I've been asked to pass on to you, okay? And it's like he kisses you goodnight every night. He's a really nice man. He might have been a bit mixed up, and he may have lived fast, and he may have lived and passed early, but he is your angel, and he is with you always. I'm getting emotional. I can't do that. So I actually have to now ask him to step back, and he's over with you, and he's giving you that hug and that kiss, and I'm going to leave him with you, okay? God bless. Thank you. My tension. I need to come to you with the beanie on. Yeah, the beautiful blue colour. Can I come to you? Yes? Okay. So I'm alright to give you a reading? Yeah, okay, good. Alright. So I have a gentleman stepping forward for you, but I also have a lady. And I'm just trying to work out which one I need to bring through first, because they're both standing there next to you. The lady is very small, she's very thin, she's very quiet. She wasn't the type of person who would have walked into the room and you would have seen her presence, and yet she was strong. She was a strong lady, and she kind of worked things from behind the scenes. You know, this was her feeling that she brings in with you, for you. I don't believe she was a tall lady either. And I do want to say to you that there was a creative side to this lady. And I'm not sure that it's art in the sense of drawing, but I do want to say that she was very creative. So I want to say that whether she did crocheting, baby stuff, or something like blankets or things, does that make sense to you? I want to bring her to, well, what she tells me is mother's side of the family, and I want to go back a generation. So I want to go to grandmother type, that generation with this lady. Does this lady make sense to you?
It could be an art.
Okay. Give me something else. It's the baby stuff. And it's not just the knitting, it's the bibs, it's the very fine workmanship that she used to do. This is what she's showing me. I don't know if it is bibs, but you know, that kind of thing, that's what she shows me, alright? I also want to say to you that this lady could cook up a storm. Like, she was a good cook. She worked really hard in the kitchen, but she wasn't the type of person who was going out into the world a lot. Her focus was in the family, all right? This was where she loved and where she really excelled, was bringing all the family together and being that link for everyone to come in. Does this make sense to you, this lady? It does, good. Now, the gentleman who steps in, he shows himself as a younger man, and I want to say to you that this man, there was two brothers. Does this make sense to you? Two males and two men that went to war. Yes. Did one come back and one not? That's what he told me, so I have to give that to you. So I feel like both went off to war and one came home. Alright, that's what he tells me. And he shows me, and the way he showed me, and I don't know if this is symbolic, but he showed me the old slouch hat. You know, it was pinned up. He was proud of that uniform. I mean, he really wore it with pride. He did his duty, you know, and he was changed by that. He was changed for the rest of his life, as so many of our men who went to war and came home were changed and affected. Does this make sense? So I've got both of these people here, right? Now, when they come in, the lady steps forward, right? So the gentleman's there, and the other one, so both of them are there, okay? And what I want to say to you is, I want to say, as this lady steps forward, she says to me that there is remembrance or an anniversary. There is something that's going on in your family that's going to bring all the family together. Does this make sense to you? It does. Because that's where she came into her own, and she says, and she's around at these family events because they meant so much to her, okay? And I want to almost say that it's like ting, 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 and we stand up and we do talk and we say and we remember and we do these things, and she's around when this is happening, okay? I also want to say to you that she tells me to grab a pen and paper because she wants you to start writing. Does this make sense? Do you love to write? Do you have this writing, poetry, or does it flow lovely, and do you write nice things?
I haven't tried to.
You haven't? Okay. Well, she's suggesting that you get a pen and paper out and that you start to write. Write down what comes to you. Write down how you're feeling. Write down what's happening in your life. And even if it's just a journal, it can be really beneficial for you, okay? Because she says that you hold a lot in. You're not a big talker. So she's saying that you hold a lot to your chest. You keep a lot in. And this is a way that you can get that out. Does that make sense to you? Yes. It does? Okay. I also want to give you a man who smoked a pipe. Like, you know the old-fashioned pipes? And they would tap the tobacco out, fill the tobacco up, light it, and do that. Does this make sense to you?
Not just at the moment.
Okay. Maybe I've moved on.
Yeah.
I don't know. So leave that one with me, okay? So I'm going to leave these two with you, if I may. And I'm going to take this gentleman on because I think he's indicating I've moved on.
Yeah.
So I'll leave them with you, if I may. Does anyone else place a gentleman who would have enjoyed smoking, you know, like the tobacco pipes? The old-fashioned, yes.
My grandfather.
Your grandfather, okay. It's interesting. Do you look like your grandfather? Is there like a family resemblance there? Because I saw this gentleman and he said father, and he said that there's a resemblance in the family with you. Yes, I am with this lady, yeah, because Helen, I want to say I would like to come to you if I may. Thank you. So do you understand father in spirit?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And you understand there is a family resemblance with you and your father?
Yes.
Yes? Thank you very much. And your grandfather was the one who smoked the pipe, and he's on father's side?
On mother's
Oh, he's on mother's side. Okay, so I need to ask him. Okay.
I don't remember my father's father because he died.
Okay. What I want to say to you is it's your father who made that strong linking, so I'm going to go with that link, okay? Now, he tells me that there was really hard times when he was younger. He went through some really challenging, hard times. And with these challenging, hard times, it felt like he closed his heart off. He just didn't know how to communicate love the way he wanted to do that. Does that make sense to you as a small child growing up? He felt like he was always that sort of stiff upper lip, that sort of one removed, just a little bit distant. Does that make sense? Well, he is very sorry about that. That's one thing he's saying straight off the bat. That is his greatest regret, right? Because what he should have done was got on his knees and played on the floor and rolled around with you and enjoyed that time that he could have had more openly with you, okay? He also brings a small child in.
Yes.
You understand this? Thank you. Because I saw he was walking and there was a child and there was this man and he was holding the child's hand, okay? And he says the child is fine. I didn't see I think there might be a female connection with this child, so a lady who comes in. So I want to say there's a female connection to this child, okay? And this lady steps forward with this as well, okay? So I want to say to you that it feels like both parents obviously are with the child and they're looking after, okay? And he's okay. He really is okay because he's with them, all right? There was a bit of travelling and a bit of upheaval in the early part of life for them. They had to resettle, they had to readjust. They always had a calling to go home. And when I'm saying that, I'm saying their home country, where they came from, where they were brought up. They missed it. They lost a lot of family. They lost a lot of that connection. Does that make sense to
No,
you?
they never been in. My mom was in Australia, but not my father.
Okay. So I want to say then that that was what they're feeling that they were giving me. And I feel like, well, it must come in from Mum's side. And I feel like she was reflecting back to when she was young. A lot of family, a lot of people that she lost contact with, and didn't actually have that connection with. Can you understand that with yourself too, that there's been a lot? Yeah, okay. So she's bringing this, well, they're bringing this, and they're reflecting it to you, okay? That this is what's going on in your life, and that you're feeling this, all right? Yes. Nothing is lost, no person is lost, no relationship is lost, okay? There is always a connection, and you actually know that. So you've managed to be able to deal with this and move forward, and they're really proud of you for doing that, okay? And I also want to say, apart from this child, there's also a little baby that was taken to spirit, and I feel like it was before it was born. Yes? So I just have to give you that as well as acknowledgement, all right? So can I please leave all of these beautiful souls? They say you don't really need a message in the sense of a message because you're such a great medium yourself that you get so many connections and so many messages and so much that you're okay with that. It's more about confirmation and the family making themselves known to you, okay? I'll leave that with you, both me. Thank you. The lady sitting here with the scar. Yes, can I come to you? Yes? Okay. Again, throw me out your name just as a link in.
Anna.
Anna. How are you today? So is this your first time in Spiritualist Church?
Yes.
Okay. And you're quite comfortable with me giving you a reading? Fantastic. Okay. So what I want to say to you is I have a gentleman who steps forward for you. And I want to say that this gentleman, the first thing I see about this gentleman is he has like a knitted cardigan. Is it a cardigan? All right, so it's a cardigan, and that's what I see with him. And he's a little bit fuller in his figure, so he's not a really thin gentleman, okay? I also want to say to you that he would have had a balding head, so his hair would have receded as he got older. And he brings me to his chest, so there must have been a chest condition, like a heart attack or something of that nature, okay, that took him to spirit, or was at least a concern before he went to spirit, okay? Does this make sense to you at all as I go? Not the heart, okay. Well, I want to say to you that this is what this gentleman is giving me. Now, I want to also come to mother's side of the family with this gentleman, all right? And I want to say to you that as there was also some hearing problems with this gentleman, because I just saw two of the old-fashioned hearing aids tucked in the back here, okay? And I also want to say to you that as he comes in on mother's side of the family, I want to say that there's mother's generation, and he was connected in through mother's generation, okay? And he may be like a couple of, an uncle or connected in on that family tree branch. Does that make sense to you? Does that help? Okay. I also want to say to you that this gentleman, as he presents himself, also would have had a walking stick as he was an older gentleman, okay? And he had a sense of, he had a fabulous sense of humour, but his humour was he only listened when he wanted to hear something, and all the rest of the time, what was that? What was that? And he would just kind of ignore. So that was his kind of humour. He only listened when he wanted to listen, because that's what he's saying to me, okay? He also tells me that he used to really enjoy playing games like strategic games, the old-fashioned games like drafts, and he used to love to sit and he used to love to play those chess games, strategy games and things like that. Does that help to place this gentleman? No. Okay, so you're not connecting with him?
No.
Okay. I want to give you a name, but I don't know if it's his name or if it's just connected into your family. What I want to say to you is I heard the name of, like, Jack come forward. So is Jack connected to your family? Right. I'm going to throw it out there then. Is there anybody else that can place this gentleman with the name connected into Jack? You can? Does anybody else? And you can. With the heart? And the heart? Okay. The hearing aids? No? Yes? Yes, Deb. All right. Okay. So I might have to say to you that I'll just keep going just for a minute, but can you just keep listening here because we need to sort this out. Okay. So I was given the name of Jack. Can you place the name of Jack? You can.
Yes.
Okay. Uncle Jack.
Yes.
Mother's side of the family.
Yes.
Okay. I have to apologise to you and say to you that I've got my radar off, and so I need to come over to this lady here, and I do apologise. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Can I come to you with this gentleman? Okay. Okay. You understand all of what's been given?
Yes.
Okay. So this gentleman, as he steps forward and presents himself in a way that he wants to be remembered to the family, okay? He really loves the idea of being presented today through mediumship, because in his life he would have said it's all a load of rubbish, right? So you understand his humour?
Yes.
Okay? And that now today he's presenting today through a medium. This tickles him pink, okay? Because it was just, when you died, that was it, and there was nothing else to it. Boy, did he get a shock. When he actually passed over and went through that transition process, he was absolutely shocked. He thought, my goodness, there must be something to this. And then slowly it registered that what people had been telling him about faith, about all of the afterlife was actually true, okay? And he says to me that even as, he knew you as a young child. Do you understand this?
Yes.
Thank you.
Teenager.
Teenager, right. But he wants to go back to when you were a young child, okay? And he said, even back then, right, there was something about you that you just had a knowing about these things.
Yes.
Thank you. He also wants to bring a Catholic nun. That's where she fits. Right? Does that make sense?
Yes, in an odd sort of way.
Okay.
Yes,
Because
there was a family member that was Catholic.
thank you. Because the Catholic nun presented herself kneeling down in front of the, whatever you call it, the altar. Yes. And, well, that's what she says. And she's praying, and she was devout. Right? So she actually was connected to your family. Okay. So she's coming in here today too. So really I am with you because this nun came to me much earlier and I was asking her, are you a guide or are you with someone? And she said, I'll let you know at the right time. Okay? So she's let me know. She was. And she was very strong when she came in because I can see her. And she said that you've actually needed a lot of that faith and that strength over the course of your life and more recently, okay? And she's around you for that faith. And I want to say to you that the gentleman, is it Jack?
Yes.
It's his name?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so Jack is saying that it's your nun that has brought him actually to make the connection today. Okay?
That's wonderful.
Right, so they've come
She's got into the precious.
Thank you. Okay. So it is time for me to finish up. So I do thank you for speaking up and for getting them placed in the right place. So thank you. I'll leave them with you. God bless and thank you.
And now, unfortunately, this time for our service to draw to a close. So I do hope that you enjoyed being with us here this afternoon. And please join me in thanking our workers once again. Thank you very much to Christine. As usually, we experience lovely evidence here from the spirit world where our loved ones are definitely around us. And we thank John for his beautiful. We thank our healers, Charlie and Gloria, this afternoon. And to all our workers in the background who make our day possible, we thank them, especially today, because as Carol said, they're downstairs getting our lovely afternoon tea ready. And even though we haven't all received a message from Spirit today, just always remember that when we come together to think of our loved ones, they certainly are aware of it. So as you send your thoughts out to your loved ones, they will receive them. And we do thank you very much for being here with us this afternoon for our 149th anniversary especially. Having you here is what makes it so worthwhile for us. So we do hope you've enjoyed our anniversary. And now please stand and join me in singing Goritchan, which will find
Prayer for peace. In all corners of our world there is war and strife, and physical life is being wantonly destroyed. We ask at this time that the great supreme powers will help to lift the minds of men from the hatred and jealousy that is surrounding our world, so bringing peace and love to all races of mankind within our planet. We also ask for guidance from the higher spheres to be shown to the leaders of our world, thus giving them wisdom with which to understand universal law and brotherly love. May peace prevail on earth. May it start with us.
Thank you once again, everyone. Please join